It is very sad that the government of Republic of Kenya have decided to engage in some picky ponky pakamilo disco game with a very important factor, or rather very important sector, and that is the education sector. 46,000 JSS teachers, junior secondary school teachers, were supposed to be employed in permanent and pensionable terms in this financial year. And for the last 6 months, these young men and women have been in the street pushing and demanding answers from Kenya Kwanza administration that at least there should be some morale booster. And 2 weeks ago, the new Treasury CS Mbadi appeared in a Citizen TV interview, and Mbadi clarified that they did not have money, that they had set some 13 billion, that given TSC 13 billion for employment of teachers, or not employment, or of course for that CBA, for implementation of a CBA that was signed between teachers and government. But there was a shortfall of 13 billion, and he said that there is no money available for employment of JSS teachers. This one was despite of a promise by the president. And first, I think I want us to go pola. Let's listen to Mbadi. And this one actually elicited reaction from Boni Khalwale. Immediately, Mbadi spoke about this in Citizen.
No, there are questions that are that need to be directed to the Ministry of Education. This is what I would say. In terms of request for funding, TSC made a request. We had a meeting with the chairman of the Teacher Service Commission and the CEO of Teacher Service Commission. Yeah. They made a request to get more funding for the implementation of CBA. That is funding for salaries or increase of salary adjustment for our teachers. Even though we are really squeezed financially because we don't have fiscal space, literally, but we made that available. And so it is correct, as the TSC CEO said, that the government has provided money. I personally made sure that was done.
How much are you talking about?
Signed out 13 billion shillings. So that is what they requested, and we made that available. But there are maybe other provisions in the CBA, like promotion, like maybe employment I've had, because I don't have the full facts about the CBA that was signed, about employment of additional teachers, the JSS teachers. Those ones could be there, and that's what I think the CS Education was referring to. But in terms of salary adjustments, which was supposed to be implemented from July, there should be no issue at all on that.
So there's an agreement to avail resources, or they have been sent to the Teacher Service Commission?
We have already given the Teacher Service Commission the approval to have that we are giving the money.
Okay.
And you see, already Teacher Service Commission has money.
So they can spend, or they
should have been spent on the normal salary payments up to June.
Okay.
So the additional is what we have guaranteed.
Meaning it is possible for the Teacher Service Commission in the August salaries to add arrears of July and the additional payment for the month of August.
Exactly.
And when they speak about the conversion of intern teachers, 46,000 of them, to permanent and pensionable, recently there was a Supplementary Appropriations Act that also spoke to that. Are resources available now? Or
No. We don't have resources for recruiting JSS teachers on permanent. That would be lying, and we don't have resources for the additional 20,000. That was reduced in the estimates. There was a mention from the Departmental Committee of Education, but the final figure that was carried to the budget doesn't have it. So it's there's a shortfall of about 13 billion shillings. Yes.
Shortfall. So how much was availed in regards to the JSS teachers? Would you know?
There's no money availed for...
No money availed for conversion.
No money, unless now we again do budget adjustments, which we really don't have that space as we speak. So we all know that this year is a year of serious challenge.
Yeah.
We are trying to manage the budget. Actually, even the money that we have made available for the teachers for their salary adjustments, we really had to look around and see how we can raise that.
So what happens, Waziri? Because recently I think there was a court order saying that it is illegal to continue having the intern teachers on internship and they need to be employed on permanent and pensionable basis. What happens now that you are unable to comply with that?
That is for TSC and Ministry of Education to deal with some. Mine is to say whether we have money or we don't have it. If we don't have money, I will tell you we don't have money.
Okay.
So that is actually the role of Treasury and the CS Treasury. As to what we do with our JSS teachers and the court order, that is for the implementing agencies to deal with.
Implementing agencies to deal with. Yes. We'll come back for more in regards to the education sector as we look at the larger question of...
The ministers wenye wametoka ODM wameingia kwa serikali kwamba you came to make the system better. Wewe John Mbadi umeambiwa Kenya kwamba ile recommendation yenye sisi kama members of parliament budget committee tulisema Professor Ndungu ajiri 46,000 teachers wa JSS, umesema wewe hautaajiri hata mmoja. Mbadi ujue mimi nilitoa Kimunya. Hiyo mchezo wacha kabisa. You must employ junior secondary school teachers because there is no learning going on there. Mambo ya kizungu mingi sijui kwa ODM kwa chama gani, we don't want to know. What we want to know is service delivery.
Now, the statement by Mbadi, or rather that statement from Mbadi, came as a shocker to many because the president had actually announced earlier, even after that finance bill was collapsed, he came and said, despite of that finance bill going down, the government will still move and look for resources to employ the JSS teachers. In fact, they had a very good, they had a strategy on how they were going to borrow so that they can employ the JSS teachers. And William Ruto, in a press briefing, a televised press briefing, made it clear that despite of finance bill going down, the government will still be able to meet its obligations. And one of the things that will not be dropped is the plan to employ the JSS teachers.
Mimi nataka niwaeleze vile vile ya kwamba mbali na mambo ya stima, mbali na mambo yale mengine tunafanya, wale waalimu wa JSS ambao tuliwaajiri miaka miwili iliyopita, nilikuwa nimepanga ya kwamba hawa walimu wote tuwapandishe ngazi waweze kuwa permanent and pensionable. So I want to tell all our JSS teachers, despite the challenges we have in the finance bill, we are going to make sure that we confirm all teachers under JSS before the end of this year so that they can teach knowing that as we agreed, they will serve under permanent and pensionable terms. Mimi nataka vile vile muelewe ya kwamba katika harakati hiyo ya kusukuma mambo ya maendeleo ya Kenya mbele.
So, I've been speaking to some. Let me tell you, most of those JSS teachers are being paid by BOM, by Board of Management. And I remember in our board, in one of the schools I'm a member, I actually came to realize that they are really struggling. If you listen to the tales of JSS teachers, they are really struggling. The stipend in some schools is not even in excess of 10,000. under 15,000. Best paying is around 20,000. And of course, that is something that is there. And this was in the spirit of implementing CBC. So JSS teachers is, the JSS Junior Secondary is the bridge school after the primary, which is well envisioned, well structured in the CBC. Today, the chairman of budget committee, Nyoro, was in Nandi and is promising the teachers that they should not worry, because in fact he's challenging TSC to explain why they are not yet employing teachers despite of them. Or rather, according to Nyoro, there is money to employ teachers, the SS teachers, and is now demanding answers from TSC.
Na nashukuru sana our unions for sitting down with government na wakakubaliana maneno ya CBA. Na kazi ya union ni hiyo. Mimi napongeza NAT na KUPPET. Kazi yenu ni kuvinya serikali kabisa. Mtufinye walimu wasaidike. Because that is the work of the unions. The unions, they exist for redistribution. Even in the private sector, the unions, they exist for redistribution between where the money goes. Is it in the profits or in the wages? And therefore, unions do a fantastic job in making sure that we have an egalitarian society. When more people are earning more, then we have a more equal society. Na mimi nawashukuru sana kwa sababu sasa naona wanafunzi wataendelea na kusoma wakiangaliwa na walimu wetu, kwa sababu nimesikia vizuri kabisa ya kwamba ile matatizo imeisha. I also want to reiterate. You know, many times I say this, and the JSS teachers wanasema this is the 59th time tunaongea hii mambo. Hii ni mzigo nilichukua mimi kama Dede Nyoro, nikasema even if I represent Kiharu as a constituency, we are also in the National Assembly. Na nikachukua hii mambo ya JSS na nikasema even if it is difficult and hard, nitapambana nayo. And I want to request the TSC very humbly. We know TSC is a commission that is independent. But I also know in parliament tumeweka pesa ya confirmation of the JSS interns or teachers into permanent and pensionable. I want to request TSC tafadhali. Hii kazi yetu ya kuongoza watu, sisi tunapewa kura, tunajua mambo ya kuongea na wadosi. Na wadosi ni wananchi wa Kenya. Please, mimi nataka kuuliza TSC kwa unyenyekevu. Give an official communication to the teachers who are currently JSS interns on the date that you are going to confirm them into permanent and pensionable.
So there is a lot of blame shifting. Ndindi Nyoro seems to be blaming TSC because of course he's there and he's saying things that people want to hear. Mbadi on the other hand is saying there is no money. President Ruto had made a promise that the money for the junior secondary school is there and that employment will be done. But I remember when Mbadi said that probably that will happen next year. So what is causing this confusion? Or why is it this mix-up between Ndindi Nyoro, Mbadi, and Ruto? Who is saying the truth? I want to just briefly look into this because it is not something very good to play with the minds of teachers in that manner. If it is there, it is there. I want to look into that briefly, but before that, I want to humbly request you to subscribe to our channel, click the notification bell, and like our videos, because beyond politics, we analyze politics, and apart from political analysis, we are sensitive to the plight of the society, and that is why we also do charity programs. Thank you very much for Kilifi project that we did elderly mission. For Bold, we are narrowing to the elderly. That is the group we really want to support. So we did the last mission in Kilifi. The next one is not this month in September. We'll do the next on 20th of October. and in another county that you will choose, you will propose. And we want to where already someone is doing something so that we already get entry. So you can easily coordinate and you get the ones that really need that support. Now, why are teachers being taken through circles? It's very disheartening. These teachers are taken through circles and no one seems to be interested in telling them what exactly is going on. I'm seeing some 3 or 4 probabilities. Number one, government and Ruto is not keen on CBC. Yes, he's not keen on, but then let me tell you, there is something I've studied pole about Kenya Kwanza, and especially about Ruto. There are things that Ruto don't like. And wait not for just the fact that systems have to be there. Kama anaweza pewa powers ya kuzichange overnight, he will just change them overnight. Look at the new funding model. This is something that is really vouched for until now finally is forced it, despite of its challenges. I may be wrong. The time that Ruto was campaigning, they campaigned CBC. Despite of it, and in fact, I normally say one of the things that affected CBC is there was no continuity. After Ruto left, I wish that docket would have remained by the late Magoha, but then by God's plan, Magoha also had to leave. There was also the departure of Magoha, the late Magoha. And then there was some committee that was formed, I don't know, Presidential Working Party on education reforms. It came up with some proposals, and that one Ruto postured and acted like, you know what, I want CBC. And then they had campaigned saying we will scrap CBC. They didn't believe in it. Yes. Kenya Kwanza did not believe in it. Or rather just opposing it for the sake of opposing it so that they align with the public feelings about that CBC. So if the way the dilly-dallying about CBC teachers, it's a clear indication that President Ruto is not vouching for it. Because there are 3 sectors you can't mess with: education, health, and transport, or rather energy. Those 3 sectors are very critical: education, health, and energy. Those 3 sectors are very critical. In fact, others are social development. Education is a big factor in social development. And it's the ingredient that is needed to make, even to breed the new brand of workers. The executive seems to lack consistency. That's just one thing. They seem to lack consistency, and this could be attributed to different layers of advisory. Maybe someone that is advising the president, it has to be this way. Then the person comes out and say, no, Mr. President, that is not it has to be this way. Or lastly, the government is broke, and they can't just say it. So the likes of Nyoro have to play one for the gallery. Thank you.